Okay, to continue with discussions with biochemistry final topics. So we go now to sphingomyelins. Sphingomyelins are only sphingolipids that are contain phosphate group and have no sugar moiety or structure or any carbohydrates that is attached to the structure of sphingomyelins. So usually these are found in the nervous system because when you say sphingomyelin, so we have a word known as myelin, which refers to the myelin sheath. This is found in the what do you call this one? The nervous tissues, no? Myelin, the one that insulates the axon. Any group of phospholipids that are found, especially in nerve tissues, and upon hydrolysis, it will yield sphingosine, choline, fatty acid, and phosphoric acid. Because of its amphipathic property, when you say amphipathic property, it has a hydrophobic region or hydrophobic phase, hydrophilic phase, okay, or polar or non-polar property. Sphingomyelins can act as detergent and even emulsifying agent. When combined with fatty acids, it will form ceramide. Globosides, ceramide oligosaccharides, contain 2 or more hexoses, okay, or hexoamines, wherein carbohydrates attach, wherein amine or amino group attached to the carbohydrate or hexose attached to ceramide molecule. Ceramide plus galactose plus glucose, known as lactosyl ceramide, component of the red blood cells. Okay, we have gangliosides. This one is found at the ganglia, that is junctions. When you say ganglia, that is a junctions found in the nerve fibers. Okay, form when ceramide oligosaccharides have at least one molecule of N-acetylneurominic acid attached to gangliosides. So this is known to be the cells that is found in the ganglia or ganglion. So we have here the ganglioside, okay, and then we have transmembrane protein, which involved in the communication process. About cholesterol also. So this is known to be your gangliosides. So for the structures, I will not really give just a additional info for you. Okay, ceramide, okay, monosaccharides, and we have globosides. Ceramide plus glucose plus galactose plus yung natawag natin NANA or N-acetylneurominic acid, it will form ganglioside M3. Okay, involved in the stability of paranodal junctions and ion channels at myelinated fibers. So when you say myelinated fibers class, it refers to the axons, because that is a part of the cells of the nervous tissues where cells which insulates the axon. Okay, phospholipids and sulfatides form when sulfate group is attached to the ceramide oligosaccharides. Important components of membrane and nervous tissues is known to be phospholipids, the one that protects also the nervous tissues. Failure of degradation of these compounds also will lead to lipid storage diseases. Kung tama nakadamo sang phospholipids, so it will also cause a lipid storage diseases. So this is known to be a phospholipids which contain a sulfate group. Okay. So as a summary, you have lipids. So lipids, we have steroids, lipid vitamins, and other terpenes. Okay. So under that one, we have eicosanoids. Okay. Triacylglycerol, waxes, and sphingolipids. So for glycerophospholipids, we have plasmalogens and phosphatidates. We have phosphatidyl ethanolamine, serine, choline, and other phospholipids. So this is known as phospholipids because based on their structure, it has a phosphate group attached to them. And ceramides, we have sphingomyelins and cerebrosides, gangliosides, and other glycolipids. Okay. So we go now to lipid metabolism. So when you say dietary fat, it provides share of energy in the body. So fats that are coming from the food, okay, that have a high amount of fats, okay, especially if you eat ice creams, cakes, you eat animal fats, okay, so this is present ito sa mga pork, or even in the beef, okay. Transport, storage, and release of these lipids is of central importance in understanding energy metabolism of the body, because storage, at the same time the release of that lipids during metabolism, it generates an energy. It generates a fuel in our body. So cholesterol is a lipid base on a steroid nucleus produced by the liver. Okay, take note, liver produces cholesterol. Okay, so it is found in the steroid nucleus. In bile acid, it helps solubility of lipids in the body. Okay, so cholesterol is a waxy fat carrier through the bloodstream by lipoproteins. Kasi lipoproteins is the one that transports the fats inside the body. So we have three types niyan: low density lipoproteins, high density lipoproteins, triglycerides. So this comprise the total cholesterols. Kung magkaroon ng plaque build-up class in the case of atherosclerosis, wherein there is what we call thickening of the fats there, so it will lead to narrow the blood vessels, and it lead to increase blood pressures and leads to increase also heart rate. So what are the different plasma lipoproteins and their characteristic and functions? So number one, we have chylomicrons, a small fat globule composed of protein and lipid. That is chylomicrons. So found in the body, found in the blood, in lymphatic system or fluid, where they serve to transport fat at the port of entry in the intestine to the liver to the adipose tissues. So take note, yung port of entry ng absorption of fats in the body, when you eat fats or during the uptake of dietary fat, usually in the liver. So we have the VLDL, or the very low density lipoproteins, large lipoproteins rich in triglycerides. VLDLs circulate through the blood, giving up their triglycerides to fat and muscle tissues until VLDL remnants are modified and converted to low density lipoproteins. So usually ito yung nag-transport ng indigenous triglyceride inside. Kasi indigenous, it is the triglyceride that is found inside the body. Okay? We have the IDL, belong to the lipoprotein particles family, are formed from the degradations of very low density lipoproteins. So meaning yung mga IDL is coming from the degradation of the VLDL. Okay? And enable fats and cholesterol to move within the water-based solution of the bloodstream. So this is the main function of IDL. They able to move fats and cholesterol within the water phase of the bloodstream. So low-density lipoprotein, LDL, a complex lipoproteins and lipids, and proteins with greater amount of lipid than protein. They transport cholesterol in the blood. Okay? This is the function. High levels are associated with increased risk of atherosclerosis and coronary heart disease. So low density siya. So meaning it has the tendency to what we call this one, remain in the blood vessels. Okay, so the function is transport of cholesterol in the blood. Next, we have the HDL, the high complex form of lipids and proteins, approximately equal amount of function as transporter again of cholesterol in the blood. High levels are associated with atherosclerosis or even coronary heart disease. Ito yung mga high density lipoproteins. Okay? So yung low density pala class, okay, is almost pare-pareha lang sila. Okay? High levels of this one, pwede makaroon ng deposit dun sa what we call this one, sa blood vessels. Apolipoproteins, any various proteins that combine with lipid to form lipoproteins and are constituent of chylomicrons, HDL, LDL, and VLDL. So take note, constituent of your chylomicrons, LDL, HDL, and VLDL is the apolipoproteins. So the function is to transport cholesterol in the body and regulation of level of cholesterol in the blood. So ito yung regulates or maintain the level of the cholesterol in the blood and cells. Okay, so this is the diagram how fats are being what we call this one, are metabolized inside the body. Dietary fats, they are absorbed at the port of entry. Okay, they crosses the cell membrane, and then in the cell membrane, so in the lymphatic system, we have the chylomicrons that carries the cholesterol. Okay, then these chylomicrons class transport the fats, okay, and in the blood capillaries, I mean, transport the fats in the blood capillaries, and inside the blood capillaries, fats undergoes hydrolysis of triacylglycerol that is carried by the chylomicrons. So during the hydrolysis of the triglycerols, with the help or catalyzed by enzyme lipoprotein lipase, so triglycerols are hydrolyzed into glycerol and fatty acids. Of course, your glycerol is returned to the liver for glucose synthesis, and fatty acids usually are resynthesis. There is what we call resynthesis and storage mainly in adipose tissues. Okay, so meaning resynthesis, adipose tissues, yung mga fats deposit in the body. You have fatty acids transports by serum albumin and leads to the beta oxidation in the peripheral tissues. Remnants of that chylomicrons and cholesterol, kasi mayroon pang tawag natin mga remnants, yung mga parang leftover, they enter the liver for biosynthesis process. So others, cholesterol will be excreted by fecal route, by bile salts, and biosynthesis of fats will lead to the formation of VLDL. Then again, VLDL carries the fats to the blood capillaries. It undergoes another hydrolysis process of triglycerol, which is catalyzed by lipoprotein lipase enzyme, and it will form glycerol and fatty acids again. So glycerol is returned to the liver for glucose synthesis, and fatty acids are synthesized and stored in adipose tissues and transport by serum albumin again, or it undergoes beta oxidation in the body. Okay? O, kung oxidize siya, wala na siya. Okay? Capillaries, so remnants again of that VLDL during the hydrolysis, after the hydrolysis process, is converted to IDL. And then IDL, some of that IDL enters the liver for biosynthesis, fats and cholesterol, or others are being excreted via fecal route. Okay? So IDL, with the, of course, catalyzed again by lipoprotein lipase enzyme that is known to be hydrolysis process, it is converted to LDL. So LDL, some of the LDL enters the cells, take note, the liver I mean, and then it will be metabolized or biosynthesized. So pwede pa rin siya ma-convert into cholesterol and fats. Again, it will go back again to the, it will form again VLDL, or others will be excreted out of the body. And then LDL, some of the LDL class binds with the receptor also, okay, with the LDL receptors in the cholesterol that is found in the peripheral tissues, okay, so muscles and various organs. Okay. Others, okay, during that, when they are being stored at the peripheral tissues, it is converted to HDL, and then HDL is also needed to endocrine glands for steroid hormone synthesis and pick up cholesterol. Again, it will enter the liver for biosynthesis again of fats and cholesterol. Then ApoB100 or other LDL, apolipoprotein plus cholesterol plus yung plasma, or the lecithin cholesterol acetyltransferase enzyme as plasma glycoprotein. So it will undergo din tawag natin acetylation process. So remnants of that one will be converted again to IDL. So same, so it undergoes hydrolysis process by lipoprotein lipase, is converted to LDL, and then others will go to the liver, and others will bind again to LDL receptors. Okay, so when you say blue, that is hydrophilic layer, protein phospholipids. This one triglycerides, and this is your cholesterol. So mostly class, nakikita nyo the fat synthesis, okay, normally. So the liver is the one that we're going to biosynthesize or synthesize the fats so that it will be excreted out the body. Kasi mayroon talagang sobra yan. So anything that in excess, take note, it is considered to be, it lead to abnormal conditions or even atherosclerosis. So this one is known to be your triglycerols, and we have your cholesterol also. Okay, and then this is known to be your triglycerol, and then together with your cholesterols. So we have the hydrophilic layer. Okay, so this is known to be your cholesterol. Okay, so cholesterol plus undergoes also series of hydrolysis process. Okay. Well, lipolysis or lipoclasis or lipodiuresis is the initial event or the breakdown of triglycerides that is found in the adipocytes. When you say adipocytes, class, it is the cells that is found in adipose tissues. Usually yun sa mga breast part ng female or other in the nervous system. There are a lot of adipose tissues which protects also the central nervous system. Okay? The process where fat stored in the cells is broken down and is also known as hydrolysis of lipids. Lipids are deposited in the adipose tissues, specifically in the cells known as adipocytes. Okay? So, we have hormonal stimulation of lipolysis process in the body. Glucagon and epinephrine are known to be the hormones. Okay? When a glucagon binds with the receptor, take note, or the epinephrine, this is reversible process. So, receptor, glucagon epinephrine binds with the receptor, it will create a receptor hormone complex is activated. Okay? So, glucagon is bind to glucagon receptor, epinephrine binds to the beta receptors. This is the cell membrane. So, actions, that complex leads to actions on the intracellular enzymes or activations of adenylyl cyclase enzyme. So, when adenylyl cyclase enzyme activated, it will convert the adenosine triphosphate to CAM, okay, or cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Okay, your CAM, will form a complex with a protein kinase enzyme. So, protein kinase enzyme form a complex with CAM that is reversible process, meaning ang reversible class after the process involved, okay, the CAM will be detached in that protein kinase. So, when protein kinase complex with CAM, okay, or protein CAM complex is formed, okay, the unphosphorylated lipase enzyme that is found inside the tissues, so it will undergone the process known as enzymatic phosphorylation of substrate lipase. So, when that enzymatic phosphorylation takes place, the phosphorylated triacylglyceride lipase enzyme will be activated. Take note, ha, when your protein kinase complex, okay, or formed with a CAM, it will phosphorylate the unphosphorylated lipase enzyme. Okay, so this one. Then the enzymatic phosphorylation of substrate lipase will activate the phosphorylated triacylglycerol lipase will be activated. So this one, the phosphorylated triacylglycerol will hydrolyze triglycerides into free fatty acids and glycerol. So it is known to be enzymatic hydrolysis of triglyceride. So this one is hormonal stimulation of lipolysis, meaning lipolysis happens when a glucagon epinephrine are formed complex with the receptor that is found inside the adipose tissues. Okay? So the concentration of blood lipids depends on the intake of excretion from the intestine and uptake and secretion from cells. So take note, depends upon the intake. So if there is a higher amount of fats that are being taken into the body, okay, so there is higher level of the blood lipids. So if there is more that are being excreted, so there will be lower lipids found in the bloodstream and uptake and even secretion of the cells. Kasi higher amount, or higher intake of lipids, take note my dear students, will lead to higher amount secretions from cells also. Okay? So we have the vitamins and minerals. So vitamins are small organic molecules that perform chemical functions, often in enzyme catalysis, not allowed by chemistry by ordinary amino acids, sugars, or lipids. Okay? So this one, minerals are inorganic elements. So usually, often ions needed for structural, catalytic, osmotic, electrochemical, and body functions of the body. So vitamins are not produced in the body and is obtained from diet, and minerals must be taken as a regular part of the human. So that's why minerals are considered to be a food supplement. Okay? They are inorganic, meaning they does not contain carbon atom. So they're minerals known as magnesium, zinc. Okay? They are involved, okay, in the structural, even in catalytic reaction or osmotic pressure regulations, and even electrochemical binding functions of the body. Because take note class, example, sodium ion or even a potassium ion are being taken in the body. So they are involved in the electrochemical reactions. Okay? Electrical charges, di ba? For example of the active transport, or yung tawag natin na AT dependent or sodium transport of the glucose. So they are needed in the regulations of the biomolecules with the help of that certain minerals.